You can read the title, you can look at the thumbnail. We're going to be discussing the Pixel 9a. I can't believe I've got this in my hands. A bit of background to my phones in general. I'm a through and through Android boy, not really a big fan of Apple. I used to have an iPhone like back in the day, like an iPhone 5, iPhone 6. I moved to Sony and then I found that Pixel, or should I say Google, were making these bad boys. And honestly, the Pixel series is and will always be the S tier of Androids for me personally. I love the Google Android, I love the OS, I love how everything is just so good when it comes to software. The Gemini, Google Lens, everything Google related in one phone. I'm a big fan for that, and I'm like the #1 fan for that, and I'm so glad that I actually upgraded to the Pixel 9a. For those wondering, I have the Pixel 7, or had the Pixel 7 before I got this. Pixel 7, amazing phone, no faults whatsoever. I kind of got used to the bezel and the little bar that they have on the phones for the Pixel 7 and the Pixel series in general. The main reason why I wanted to move was because this didn't have the bezel. This doesn't even have a bezel. If you could see it, you can see how thin it is. You can barely see it. That's how insane it is. Obviously, I don't think my flipping camera could autofocus, but this bloody phone is, and for the last week or 2 weeks of me using this, has been a game changer to my Pixel 7. And the reason why I actually decided to switch, by the way, just before we dive into the reasons why I love it, why I don't like this, what's different to the Pixel 7 and all the Pixels that I've had previously, I got it off Vinted. Another Vinted find. If you haven't seen my shorts or haven't seen my gaming side of content, I find a lot of cheap and very good stuff on Vinted when it comes to tech and electronics, and this was one of them. The phone itself was brand new. You can see the unboxing like on screen right now. It came in the original box. It came with everything that it's literally from the Google store. When I say I'm a big advocate for Google, I literally have the Stadia controllers. I got the white, this blue one, I got another one. I flipping use these quite literally every single day. Back to the Pixel 9a though, the only thing I noticed as soon as I got it outside the box was it looks like a bloody iPhone. If you've never seen an iPhone 5 or an iPhone 6, there used to be these little lines all over across the phone. You can see it right here. There should be one here, you can see there. And then finally, there's one here. There's two on each end here. You can see, obviously it's a bit smudged, sorry, but you can see it literally looks like an iPhone. And if you turn around now, it doesn't, because obviously it's got the G for Google, but it literally looks like an iPhone. And I was like, whoa, what the flip? Like, it was so trippy to me. But it has Android, it has Google on it, and to me, I'm personally fine with that. I do not care if Google is taking inspiration of Apple, and Apple are taking inspiration to Samsung, Google, etc. I don't really care about that, but it was just really trippy to see that this was. Back to the phone itself, I love the camera. If you did not know, the Pixel 9a has the exact components and specs as the Pixel 9 series. When it comes to camera, it's just literally two cameras. That camera for this is exceptional. Google, I don't know what you do with your software, I don't know what you do, but it's unbelievable. Like, the pictures that I've taken so far, the videos I've recorded so far have been insane. The comparison between the Pixel 7 and Pixel 9a, from what I've gathered, has been obviously the bezel. I'm glad that's gone. It's literally so convenient. Secondly, the material, obviously that was a glass back. I was very hesitant and very skeptical on the glass back. It felt very heavy as well. Another big bonus, battery life. Flipping hell, I'm so glad some flipping company has finally decided to put a beefy flipping battery in a phone like this. I'm so glad. Thank you, Google, for doing that, because it's a game changer. I'm at the moment charging it quite regularly, but whenever I forget my charge and I'm on 30%, it doesn't matter, because literally it survives till about 3 p.m. the next day. And that's perfect for me, because I usually charge it later on in the day and I'm not really fussed. The battery life and the whole that kind of side of things, Google, exceptional once again, a flipping one. This is literally just being honest about the phone. It's just amazing to see how far the Pixel series has come, because I used to have a Pixel 3a, now this is the 9a. So yeah, moving on to another thing I love, that is the 120 hertz on the Pixel 7. I think there was like a smoother display setting. It didn't feel smooth to me personally. This phone right here, I don't know. I play games on my PC. I have literally a 200 hertz monitor here 144 monitor here. This has 120 hertz. This is unbelievable on the phone. Like the smoothness. I can't tell you how smooth it flipping is. Like I've never had a phone this smooth in my entire life. Another thing I'm gonna say that I like and I love, the brightness. On my Pixel 7, terrible. Sorry Google, but I don't know what you did. Pixel per inch, terrible. This on the other hand, amazing. I like it's so bright. I don't know what they've done with the brightness and the screen itself, but it's exceptional. That's all the best things covered from my perspective, how I love this phone. Now, I guess the drawbacks about this phone, they're not really drawbacks because I don't really look into those things and I'm pretty fine and happy with a phone like this, if that makes sense. So like, people have been complaining online about the bezels of the phone. Personally, I have not ran into any issues about how thick and big the bezels are around the screen. It's just, I think, a trend nowadays that people want it so thin. Obviously, my Pixel 7 had very thin bezels around, but I can't really tell a difference between that phone and this phone. They're both the same screen size, battery, and the way it obviously operates, as well as better camera. But when it comes to the bezels, like the screen, the outline here, I can't tell a difference. I'll be so real. I really can't tell a difference. A lot of people have been complaining about it online, but I just genuinely don't see complaint, if that makes sense. Why should you complain when you could probably get, if you could spend another 100 or 200 to get the 9, which has obviously everything better. But for a flipping bargain, that I got on Vinted, for a flipping bargain that Google are literally showcasing to you guys, this phone is literally the real deal. It will probably be overlooked this year because there's so many phones that I've seen that are coming out that are already better, obviously, than this cheaper alternative of Google, as well as all the flagships out there that are just competing constantly. I've seen a lot of comparison between iPhone 16e and the Pixel 9a, and I'll be honest, they're literally the same phone. The only two differences is that Google has a better flipping camera and Apple have a better chip. That's from my overall research and its perspective, as well as I've seen it and tried the 16e. And moving on to another drawback that I noticed online, I have had no issues whatsoever, and it's probably much better than my previous phones, is the fact that the reception or signal antennas in this phone, when it comes to reception of 4G data, etc., I've had no issues for the last 3 weeks, 2 weeks, or whatever, however long I've had. Literally 5G wherever I go. Literally my Pixel 7, however, the last month I've had no service. Don't know why, don't know what it is, but my phone was literally no service whatsoever on that flipping mobile. It was just so frustrating. I don't know if it was Vodafone or my phone itself, but I had literally no service. And as soon as I got this phone, I noticed and I saw that they had both with the same signal antennas or whatever they're called. Don't know what the flipping terminology is, but I've had no issues so far. Yeah, man, like there's a lot of people that are trying to downplay this phone, but it's even the flipping torch is pretty good. The main, I guess, issue that I have with this phone is the audio. I tend to watch a lot of videos at night in my bed, as well as whenever I've called someone. I've tested out where I put it to the max volume, and it's very, like, not distorted, but hear the peaking sounds and the noises, which isn't ideal, but obviously you wouldn't use it as loud as possible. But then I've noticed when it comes to videos and watching videos on my phone, you can still hear the little peaks in certain music or certain videos or certain, just in general, whenever you're using this phone. I haven't had any issues with it in that sense, but I guess the audio isn't clear enough to my, I guess, standard. It's not bad. It's just I'm not used to this audio, I guess, levels and how to figure it out. My overall verdict of this phone so far has to be like a good solid 9 out of 10. Not trying to do the pun of it being Pixel 9a, 9 out of 10. You know what I mean? Solid 9 out of 10. On just everything in between. Is a solid phone for a solid price. If you guys have any questions regarding Android, regarding the Pixel 9a in general, please comment them down below. I'm really happy to answer. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Subscribe if you haven't already. Take care and peace.